let's talk about whether or not it's a good idea to gift someone a sewing machine as a surprise. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing fun and approachable, and I'm seeing a lot of posts on places like Reddit pop up because it's the holiday season, and they're going something like, hey, I'd like to gift someone in my life a sewing machine as a surprise gift because they expressed an interest in learning to sew. So the poster is asking for advice and recommendations for sewing machines. So I want to talk about that. So if that's you and you're here because you're like, hey, I'd like to gift a friend or family member a sewing machine as a surprise gift, I want to walk you through just sort of the thought process behind why I personally think that's not a great idea unless you're in some very specific situations. So if you're new here, welcome, and I hope you can learn something. I've been sewing for about a decade. I have like at least 6 or 7 sewing machines. I've made some purchasing mistakes, and I want to talk about this because I think the intent behind gifting someone a sewing machine is totally lovely. I think it's a great thought and shows that you really care about the person you want to gift a sewing machine to. But I also want to educate you on the process that's involved in buying a sewing machine, and just that there are so many different options. I think buying a sewing machine is a lot like buying a car. The same sewing machine might not be right for every individual. Just like buying a car is a highly personal decision, I would never surprise someone I know with a car because it might not be a good fit for them. They might not like the car. Take that same logic, you can also apply that to sewing machines. There are a mind-boggling amount of options when it comes to sewing machines. There are different types of sewing machines. They're all different manufacturers. There are different price levels. This is a fairly entry-level Brother machine. This is a CS7000i. It's recently been discontinued, but you can find a lot of these just secondhand on like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, all kinds of spots to get it if you don't want to get it new. So here's what I want to tell you about gifting someone a sewing machine. I would not do it unless the recipient has told me exactly what they want. Like if they've already said, I want the Brother CS7000i, you know exactly what to get. But if the person hasn't started sewing yet or they don't really know what they need, I don't think it's a great idea to just surprise them with a sewing machine that you think they might like. So here's what I want to tell you to do instead. Gift them the surprise that you are going to be buying them a sewing machine, and then let that person, the recipient, research what type of machine they want within the budget that you give them. I really shy away from recommending specific sewing machines. I get asked that question all the time. What do you think about this specific model? Or what do you recommend for me? And it's really hard for me to make recommendations because what I like might not be what you like. And I just think this can be a pretty big ticket purchase for a lot of us. Sewing machines can be as cheap as $150 and go all the way up to $20,000 or $30,000. There's just an overwhelming amount of options. And I think what would be better would be to maybe surprise them with a gift card or a card with maybe with a picture of a sewing machine in it. I don't know. Tell them you want to take them shopping for a sewing machine. I do think it's important. Like I've bought machines online, and I know there's the whole, should you buy a sewing machine online or should you get it at a sewing machine dealer? I think if you have zero experience with sewing, it can be helpful to try out different brands. Some of the popular brands are Brother, Singer, Janome, Juki, there's Bernina, there's a more budget-friendly line called Burnett, there's Baby Lock. I do have a previous video on buying your first sewing machine and how you should go about it. So that's where I like to try to help people, not by just telling them what machine to buy, but telling them what factors they need to consider when they're purchasing a sewing machine so that they know what to look for. What are you going to be sewing? What kind of materials? What's your skill level? And I'll say this, I wouldn't go, if you're buying a brand new sewing machine, I wouldn't go cheaper than like $150. New, I would go for at least that price, unless you're going used. Like if you're going used and you can get a good deal on a machine, maybe you can get a $600 machine for $300, that's awesome. But I would not go cheaper than $150 new. Don't get one of those like mini sewing machines or like travel ones or anything under that price. because most likely it's just going to be junk. I know there are some strong opinions on the newer Singer machines. I don't have any experience with them myself. I mostly stick to like a Brother, Janome, Juki, those types of models. Oh, I have an Eversone. Eversone does have a good line of entry-level sewing machines, and they were developed by the Bernina company. So the Bernina company is well known for the quality and very nice high-end sewing machines. I would try to check out some reviews, maybe see if you have friends who sew that might let you just test drive their machines. But if you've never sewn before, again, I wouldn't drop thousands of dollars on a sewing machine unless you really want to, but you could certainly spend under $300, get a kind of an all-purpose machine, and then decide from there whether you like it as a hobby or not. Going used can be another great option. You get more machine for your money. And if you don't end up liking sewing as a hobby, or you don't do it as much as you thought you would, you haven't dropped that much cash. So for all of you who are researching what type of sewing machine you should buy for a friend or family member for Christmas, I would tell you it's probably not a good idea. And I think it would be much better if you gift them the experience of picking out a sewing machine themselves. Like if my husband tried to buy a sewing machine for me as a surprise, it would probably not go super well. He doesn't know what I want. He doesn't know what to look for. But I know it can be hard when the person doesn't have any sewing machine experience because they don't know what to look for. That's why I would recommend my video, How to Buy Your First Sewing Machine. I have some good recommendations and good things to look for and consider when you are purchasing a sewing machine. I've owned quite a few. I've tried out a lot too. Sometimes you can go to like a sewing convention or even a retreat or a sewing machine dealer and just try out different machines. What one person loves, you might hate, and then vice versa. There are some brands I've tried out that I just didn't like the way they felt. I didn't feel comfortable sewing on it. But again, it's all about personal preference. And that is why I just don't recommend specific machines to people, because I don't know most people well enough to be able to recommend a machine. I don't want to just say, go buy this, and then the person's like, well, Jen, I hate this. You know, you suck. So I try to avoid that type of thing. And that's why I'm here to tell you, if you are thinking about gifting someone a sewing machine for Christmas, I would only do that myself if the recipient told me, I want the Brother CS7000 die, or I want the Brother Sketch PP1 embroidery machine. If they have a specific machine that they want, then I think that would be fine to go ahead and purchase that for them. But again, I think a lot of people who don't sew just don't have any idea about sewing machines. They think they're all the same, but they differ so much. And a lot of the manufacturers have dozens of models, hundreds of models, and it can be really daunting to try to choose one. And also, I don't think it should be a decision like, you know, hey, let's just pick out this in a few hours. If you're spending several $100s on a machine, several $1,000s on a machine, that's probably something you want to research over several weeks or months. So maybe what you could do is gift them the money to buy a machine, or tell them you'll take them shopping for a machine, help them pick it out. You know, offer to spend some time with them. You guys could go to lunch, go to a sewing machine dealer, try out some machines, see what you like, or you can research them together. You can also gift them a gift card to a store that sells sewing machines. So there are a lot of ways you can gift someone a sewing machine without specifically picking out a certain make or model, just because I just think it's too hard of a decision for you to try to take on when you are not the one that's going to be using this piece of equipment, especially if you're going to be shelling out a lot of money for it. That's just my 2 cents. Might be an unpopular opinion, I don't know, but I'm just seeing so many posts online asking for help picking out sewing machines for someone for Christmas that I just wanted to jump on. Hopefully this video can help someone out there, but let me know what your opinion is on gifting someone a sewing machine as a surprise. Good idea, bad idea? If you have any suggestions, let me know down below in the comments. Anyways, I'm Jen with the Sewing Report. Check out some of the many videos I have on beginner sewing and sewing machines. I'll see you again in the next video, and remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.